Hi, I'm Lee David Slotoff, and when I want someone to make money for my life... Okay, we're going to try this one again. Okay. Hi, I'm Lee David Slotoff, and when I want someone to make fun of my life's work, I turn to making fun of MacGyver, not... Back in the
Tonight, while mapping some wilderness in Alaska, MacGyver discovers an abandoned ship and Bigfoot. Will Sam, Jeff, and special guest Gary from Kelowna, British Columbia need to huddle close, long distance to make it through this terrifying episode? Find out next on Making Fun of MacGyver. It's Making Fun of MacGyver, a rib-tickling takedown of our favorite 80s adventure show, Fraggle Rock. Now, come on, it's MacGyver, starring Sam Jordan as the skeptic and Jeffrey Hess as the scientist.
Name's MacGyver.
Welcome, everybody, to Making Fun of MacGyver, the show where we recap, review, and lovingly ridicule every episode of the original series. I am Sam Jordan, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by my fellow MacGyverite, the Bigfoot of the bunch, Jeffrey Hess.
You know what they say about men with big feet? Big shoes.
And also a special guest tonight, the Sasquatch of the squad, Gary Orn.
Yeah.
My three-alarm heartthrobs, a crucial question is incoming for you both. Are you ready to see more big feet than a big and tall shoe store?
You happen to stumble upon my one fetish.
Big feet.
Okay. Yes. Great. Because it's we're moments away from Making Fun of MacGyver. It's our 66th episode. It's a special one. You're going to find out why in a moment. And tonight we'll be talking about MacGyver Season 1, Episode 4, Ghost Ship. Kind of a long cut there. But first, it's our opening gambit. Jeff, we've got Gary freaking Orn from Kelowna, BC here with us live. What?
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Ride or die fan right here.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's great.
So this is Gary from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. And Gary, as best we can tell, is our first ever fan. And we might need you to confirm this, Gary, because my memory could be off. But as far as someone commenting on a public thing, I don't know if it was it must have been Facebook. But I feel like you were the first one who ever said, "Hey, someone's out here. I heard the show. I like the show." Does that sound legit to you?
Yeah, I don't even. I was just searching on Spotify for podcasts, and I think that's how I came across it. Maybe third episode in or something. I missed the soon parts. It was after soon parts. That's why.
So
do not mention their name.
So you're a MacGyver fan, right? You listen to podcasts already, and you're like, let me type in MacGyver into Spotify. Is that the way you found us?
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of how I got into the podcast, listening to podcasts, really.
Oh, okay. And you're in Canada, and we know like one of the stereotypes about Canadians is they all have like a great sense of humor. So obviously you enjoyed our tremendous senses of humor, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I love it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about your history with MacGyver. You must be a big fan.
Well, I don't know. I watched it in my youth. I remember it being on TV, and it was one of my more favorite shows. He's chill. It's just MacGyver, right? I don't know. It's fits my demographic. I don't know. I like that.
And then we had a little contest in that first season, and we probably had like 9 listeners as opposed to our something a little bit more than that now. And then you won that little giveaway. And we sent you the first season on Blu-ray, MacGyver on Blu-ray. That's
Yeah.
when only the first season
Yeah.
was on Blu-ray. But
Yeah.
you were actually a winning
awesome.
prize fan too, yeah.
It was awesome. I appreciated the note.
And don't you have a girlfriend that listens too?
Yeah, she listens a little bit. Listens with me. Jen. her
Well, is
name
she okay? Is she a friend,
She-
a girlfriend, a wife, or what?
No, we've been together for 10 years. Yeah, on the 30th of this month. So,
'Cause she does a great job too, commenting on the social posts. So we thank her for that as well.
cool. Yeah.
And what else can we? I mean, I don't want to pry too much about your personal life, but mid to late 30s, early 40s. You're in. Tell us about where you live. What do you do?
41. I work part-time at UPS delivery.
UPS.
Delivery
Okay.
guy, yeah.
So you got that MacGyver Blu-ray really quick that day. You probably didn't even.
Yeah.
I'll take
I might
this.
have delivered it to myself, I think. Maybe. Yeah. And then music is my other half.
You're in a band. Tell us
three
about
of
the
them.
band a little bit.
3 bands I'm in.
You're in 3 bands.
90s cover band, hard rock cover band, Bush Party, and
And are you a bass player? Is that right?
yes.
Do you want to plug any plug in the name of the bands or anything like that, or is
The original band, Big Block Union. We got songs on Spotify or whatever.
Okay.
All the platforms. Yeah.
awesome? Big Block Union. Okay, well, we are so glad to finally meet you. This is really like meeting fan number 1, so it's a pleasure for us to meet you, and thank you for supporting us all these years with the social love and everything. Gary has chosen to co-host this episode with us, and we recently put him in the Making Fun of MacGyver Lister Hall of Fame, and besides that life-changing honor, we also gave him 3 months of Swiss Army knife level tier Patreon patron perks. And one of those perks is the opportunity to guest host with us. So that's why Gary is here tonight. But if you would want to get the bonus episodes, as Gary's been getting, for a limited time now, Gary, it's about to run out soon, video chat hangout sessions, or your own seat as a co-host for an episode with us, go to patreon.com/makingfunofmacgyver for the details. If you can't do that, don't worry about it. I mean, just a little social love, a like here, a share there, a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify would be great, and that's it. Guys, Hurricane Ian blew through Florida a couple of weeks ago, and I was mildly affected by it, but one of our core fans might have been hit, and that's Bo in Fort Myers.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I reached out to him yesterday, haven't heard back, but Mike actually reached out to him a few days before that, and Bo did write back and said it wasn't good. He didn't have a good time with it, so we just want to send our best wishes that there was no, loss of life or any injuries, obviously, but certainly no major damage or anything like that. Bo, we're thinking of you,
Right.
and reach out to us when you get a chance.
We love you, Bo.
Yeah. Also, a quick word about the death of Ms. Angela Lansbury
No.
on this MacGyver podcast. Yeah. Guys, over the span of many decades, I got to tell you, no other show has been as much of a warm cup of milk for me like Murder, She Wrote.
It is kind of like that, isn't it?
That's what it is. I would never argue that it's an amazing show. I would never say it's brilliant writing or acting or anything, but I've seen every episode, 264 of them. And I just love a good murder mystery. And it was just rock solid 12 years. And she was just impeccable. She was first class, Manchurian Candidate, Beauty and the Beast, Mrs. Potts, all these other roles, but just a great loss. And I just wanted to say, a tip of the hat to Angela Lansbury because her work meant a lot to me over the years. So, guys, let's dip our fingers now into the viewer mailbag.
Too short.
Gary, how did you manage to hang in there when that theme was up to 50 seconds?
It was, I don't know. It really got funnier and funnier. I clocked it on the highway driving home
You're the
from work.
first person to agree with me.
I clocked it. Well, I can't even. I think I messaged you guys about it. So a minute long at 80 kilometers an hour, going on the highway. What? No, what? It was 1 kilometer, a full kilometer at 80 kilometers an hour.
Gee, that's neat.
Right.
New clip there.
I thought I'd clock it.
So not only did you not get turned off by it, you actually rather enjoyed it, and it helped you measure your speed on the highway.
In Canada, could you use that if you got pulled over for speeding? Could you be like, I timed it listening to the Making Fun of MacGyver listener mailbag, and I was going the right speed?
I could dispute that, maybe. I could. Maybe.
On YouTube, we've been getting a lot of comments lately. And guys, if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, please do subscribe, because we post a lot of good stuff there that you're not going to hear on the podcast. But on our video, How MacGyver Was Created, Explained in 73 Seconds by Lee David Slotoff, and that's been up there for at least over a year. But we had a couple of comments from someone named Dr. Amit Gajili. Dr. Amit Gajili. And he said, MacGyver made a difference in society. I saw my first automatic gate on MacGyver and wanted to learn about all things thanks to MacGyver. Thumbs up and subscribed.
Automatic gate?
I see that look, and I'm thinking, did he just mean gun? Maybe it was just a speech to text, and he might mean saying gun. But it's possible he just meant automatic gate.
All right, dog. Cool.
But there's more. He says, I forgot to add in another video that MacGyver made kids think, and even though I was far away from major civilizations, I could relate and learn to think outside the box. A bunch of thumbs up. Today, I am a medical doctor, went to law school, am a licensed sea captain in national water of an island, do taxes and asset management, plus I do electrical, welding, masonry, construction, and even auto mechanics. I have to thank MacGyver partly for that. Thanks a lot. I have to get the whole show to watch MacGyver, Knight Rider, and all those shows open people's mind to possibilities. Nice from Dr. Amit Gajili.
We get the best stories.
Jack of all trades.
2 years ago, back in the Soon Parts days, when we had someone of a different, I'm sorry to mention that, but like we would just not believe anyone writing to the show. We say, nope, that's spam, that's a bot, whatever. But Jeff, so many times our minds have been blown, whether it's someone from Taiwan, Australia, Finland, Norway. But Dr. Amit Gajili, could he really be a doctor, law school, licensed sea captain, taxes, asset management, electrical, welding, masonry, construction, and even auto mechanics? Could that be?
I'm going to go with yes, because he very clearly says at the start of his letter, it gave him the inspiration to study literally everything.
I mean, what more testament does this show? This is a mic drop moment for this show. Not our show. I mean, MacGyver. But just like, my God, MacGyver inspired so many people around the world to do so many hands-on STEM-like things and not shoot people. Guys, let me take you back now to Monday, October 19th, 1987. The number one movie in the country for the fifth week in a row is Fatal Attraction, the thriller starring Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. Gary, you ever see Fatal Attraction?
Actually, I don't think I have actually
seen that. Good little flick.
No.
Good little flick.
I should. There's lots that I've been meaning to watch.
The number one song in the U.S. is Lost in Emotion by Lisa and Cult Jam. I have some fond memories of this song in the summer in New York City in 87, but you guys, I don't think, know this song, and Gary's going to sing it tonight, which I'm excited about.
I have never heard the song before.
Gary, it doesn't matter because we have songs that previously we've heard many times and we butcher anyway. But you know what? I hate to tell you this, Gary. You know what was the number one song on October 12th, 1987? I bet you know it. I bet you could have done a good job. It was Here I Go Again on My Own by Whitesnake. Does that one ring a bell?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could have.
Yeah. Here I go again on my own.
I honestly thought it was going to be Michael Jackson.
Yeah, no.
Beat it.
But, okay, so you've got Lisa and Cult Jam is going to be sung by Gary Orrin from Kelowna, British Columbia. This has never been done on a podcast or on a broadcast. Jeff, can you check the records real quick? Has this ever been done?
Hold on, verifying with the news desk. I got to go back to the Shamar Ross's Missing Chest Flesh 24-hour news center, and I'm being told no, this has never been done.
A British Kelowna man has never sung Lisa and Cult Jam on a MacGyver podcast.
This is true.
Okay.
Yeah, confirmed.
All right.
I'm terrified.
So I'm going to hit it on my end and just do your best. And if you butcher it, it's just more fun for us. So enjoy.
Right.
Gary.
It's got a great bass line.
You're right, yeah. Bonus points if you do air bass to it.
Hit the beat now.
Yeah, hit that beat.
Lost in emotion. Some guys will promise you a marriage made in heaven, but I'm gonna stick to my guns. Like waiting for that love I might be getting. My dreams have yet begun. Oh baby, am I a fool? 'Cause I don't know how you feel. And it's my love for you. Oh, I can't conceal emotion. Telling you things you really shouldn't know. Baby, I'm lost in emotion. Am I a fool? At least my friends think so. Oh.
Give me the Casera. I need the Casera.
Give me whatever.
Casera. Good job, Gary.
Casera.
Is it pronounced Quesera?
Thank you, guys. Quesera.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
no, that's right.
yeah.
It is pronounced
It's
Quesera,
Quesera.
but
Ques-
in the song
yeah.
she says Casera.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
Okay,
that's like listening to British people make tacos.
What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
It means what will be.
Whatever
will
will be, right?
Quesera,
Oh,
Syrah.
okay.
What will be?
It's
will
beautiful.
be.
It's romantic.
How you feel, Gary?
romantic.
That's not bad
Feels
for a song
that-
you didn't know.
Is that all right? Yeah, I listened to it a couple times.
Okay, yeah, good job.
I'm good in those kind of situations.
Next week we're gonna see you with a Lisa and Cult Jam leather jacket, baby. I don't know. All right, so we've had our fun. Yeah, we've had our fun. It's Monday, October 19th, 1987. These guys are toddlers. I'm a teen, but doesn't matter because at 8 o'clock that night on ABC, it's MacGyver Season 3, Episode 4, Ghost Ship. And now I hand over the reins of the show to the next level of MacGyver narrators, the gentleman Jeffrey Hess.
Well, I will never ghost you, my friends. I will be here from the beginning of the episode to the end. And we open with, once again, I believe this is new MacGyver music, new MacGyver theme opening music. They're putting that money they saved moving to Vancouver into some new music. And they're flying in on a helicopter, and Pete is making fun of Mac that they're going to drop him off for a vacation. But Mac says, "This ain't no joke, Pete."
MacGyver! Great place to start day one of your vacation. Vacation, nothing. This is a Phoenix-sponsored Save the Wilderness mapping expedition, and don't you forget it. Just ask the Department of Interior over there.
That's right. This is a highly sensitive electronic boundary marker. You got 5 of them to place in your sector, about 1 every 10 miles.
Don't expect a straight line.
Satellite will line them up for you. I've got to count on you to make sure that marker is stationary. If it slips or falls or gets washed away by rainwater, our satellite is going to go berserk. We need topographical reference points to chart with.
They'll be solid as a rock.
So they drop Mac off at what sounds like to me the Chungus station. Did anyone else catch that? It sounded like Chungus to me.
Chungus? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
That's what she said, Chungus?
Well, it sounds like we're at the Chungus station, which I find funny.
And do we know where they're supposed to be? Because they say it later, but at this point, we don't even know like what country or wherever. But they say it later. Do you guys catch that when they say where it is?
It's in Alaska.
Yes, they're in Alaska. Right.
And so they drop Mac off, and Mac says, "Alaska feels like home."
This untracked wilderness reminded me of my Minnesota backwoods, full of the beauty of old Indian legends. I was only too happy to be a part of the Phoenix Foundation's effort to map it out and make it a national preserve. And to be honest, it was just nice being here.
But of course, Mac being Mac, everywhere he goes, he runs into trouble. So he takes off into the woods, and he finds trouble right away. Finds an old totem pole that's got a skeleton on it in very 1980s fashion. The skeleton does a jump scare for us, and Mac pounds that first stake into the dirt to keep track of where he's going, and they hear, what is that? A howling in the distance. Meanwhile, back at base camp, they see that Mac has put the first thing in place, and Mac continues his hike through the woods, and he comes upon a lake where he sees a ship in the lake. Well, why is this here?
I mean, we paid a lot for that sound effect. We got to get our use out of it. But hold on. So Gary, does this part of the world look familiar to you? I mean, because you don't live too far from where they're filming this. So what are your thoughts when you're seeing this setting?
It's more like the coast,
Okay.
and maybe up north a bit. I haven't explored too much that far over.
Well, I've got the courtesy of MacGyveronline.com, the good people over there. I've got the 2 filming locations here. And the ship location is at Indian Arm, British Columbia. And the Phoenix base camp is something called Park Area at the Cleveland Dam in North Vancouver.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
So Mac is getting warning signs the whole time along. So we've got the mysterious totem pole that he says is a bad sign. We got the dead man skeleton. His little thingy falls over, and now he's found this boat out here that has the boat is in the water, and there's like a dinghy on shore that's destroyed, and it's got huge claw marks down the side of it. Mac, being very Mac-like, decides to repair the boat with some tarp and some rope.
Does it MacGyver?
Do you think you guys could do this? Could you fix a boat with a tarp?
It looks like it would work.
Okay, we have one from.
I feel like
what do you think,
work.
Sam?
I feel like it would work.
I was thinking about that. It seemed to be defying the laws of physics there a little bit.
Depends where he sits.
A lot of duct tape going around to make the second half of the boat. But
Well, for starters, it's important to know that not all tarps are waterproof. Some are only water resistant. According to PartyTentsDirect.com, the difference is resistant will keep sprays of water out, but waterproof water will pool in it and it'll still hold it out. They're rated by something called a hydrostatic head, which is the waterproof rating of something. And anything over 1,000 means 1,000 millimeter high water of level before it presses through the material. Fortunately for us, though, according to tentcampingtrips.com,
one of my favorite websites.
All blue tarps are waterproof. So if you see a blue tarp, it is waterproof. There's also clear, silver, black, camo, red. I have a brown one in my garage, but the blue ones are waterproof.
I think I have a brown one.
So it's good start. We have a waterproof tarp. The problem is, can you tie it with that rope to seal it tight enough to get the job done? But you know what? Mac don't care. All he does is sit in the back of the boat and raises the busted end up.
He doesn't need the tarp.
He doesn't need the tarp. Doesn't need the tarp at all. But he puts the tarp in place, seals it enough, sits on the back of the boat. This does MacGyver.
Okay.
So we cut to a point of view shot from inside the ship as something or someone is watching MacGyver arrive. As he gets onto the ship, a door closes mysteriously behind MacGyver. MacGyver hops back out. He doesn't see anybody, and things get more and more unsettling. There's a large, bloody handprint. Mac compares his itty-bitty hand to the size of this massive handprint. He also finds hunks of hair everywhere. You know, we've got now the damaged claw marks on the little dinghy boat. We've got the giant bloody handprint, and there's chunks of hair everywhere, and Mac is still exploring this ship where it appears that everyone has just vanished. There's a cup of tea that's there that's just still hot, and everyone's just hanging out, and it looks like everyone has disappeared. And Mac, he's going up to the front of the boat. He's approaching the steering wheel to the front of the boat when suddenly and unexpectedly a giant hairy arm busts through the window and grabs at Mac, and the fight is on.
Man.
Bigfoot is here.
Gets me every time.
Oh my God, what a great jump scare. That is really good. It was not telegraphed, I don't think.
He goes
right?
for the coffee. He's going to taste it or smell it, and bam.
I mean, not only the best, there's been no other jump scare so far on MacGyver, maybe one or two, but nothing like this. But this is good on any level, any kind of movie, whatever. Like, I did not see that coming.
Well, once it carries on, you looked up the actor who plays the Sasquatch.
Okay.
And he played Jason.
What?
Ooh.
And so I get that Jason feel in this sequence where it's chasing
let me double check that, because I know that guy's name, the main guy over the years.
I looked him up.
That's a Bo Rigby level
He's
information.
He's from Saskatoon.
And he's from Saskatoon.
He's from Saskatoon.
Gary's like, I'm going to follow the one famous person from my hometown.
I like this guy now.
We got to find that guy. We got to get this information.
Ken Kersinger?
I was a little surprised it was a giant hairy arm, considering the episode is called Ghost Ship.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about this, because it's called Ghost Ship. And then as soon as he sees the totem pole and the skeleton, The episode is called Ghost Ship. It airs in mid-October of '87, so I think it's the first ever foray of MacGyver into anything scary, right? We've never seen an episode like this, but more are going to come. But I don't think we've ever seen an episode that works in these kind of scary horror movie tropes like this one is doing. So it's a clear, like, Halloween kind of programming, right?
This is definitely light horror. But he specifically says when he sees the totem pole, he's like, oh, it's some kind of warning of mystical things. And the clip I pulled where he's talking about, reminds me of Minnesota and our ancient Indian mythologies and things like that are going on. So they're dropping little hints along the way that we're in for some Bigfoot action.
Yeah, Ken Kersinger plays this creature also in Watchmen, Paycheck, and The Incredible Hulk in 2008. And I guess, Gary, you're saying you saw a Friday the 13th credit on there too?
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff. I wonder what his height and weight is.
He's a big guy.
Pretty terrifying with the hair, and the face is concealed the whole time. And this guy, and he's active and he's fast. So this is a pretty scary, and the audio is loud. So this is Mac's like scariest fight yet for sure.
Yes, definitely. Except for his fight against Piedra. I would put Piedra over Sasquatch any day of the week.
Well, that's true. Well, that was, yeah.
It's tossed around pretty good later on.
So the beast chased Mac all over this ship. The race is on, and Mac is ducking, diving, dipping, dodging, and rolling. He's hiding behind doors and propping things up, and this beast is just destroying the crap out of this ship. He's flipping tables, he's busting windows, he's knocking down doors. He's going ham. He's going beast mode, this beast is. Mac grabs a pole. Mac thinks he's...
Actually, no, this
Jason
is where
mode.
the term was originated.
Oh, this
beast
is where
mode
beast mode
was
comes from.
originated. Yes, this one.
All right. Mac grabs
It was not Marshall,
not
Marshawn Lynch. or
one of my
Marshall-
top
no,
five
no.
all-time favorite players. So Mac grabs...
It was Ghost Ship, Sasquatch.
Mac grabs a steel pipe. He's hoping to defend himself. He sees something underneath of a table nearby. He goes back. He cocks his arm to attack this thing, and it is a stowed-away woman. And cut to Dak.
So that's the end of the first Axminster?
That's the end of Axminster 1.
Yeah, pretty intense, pretty exciting. A lot of mystery
and long.
There. It was long. And I'm not a big fan of when Mac, and they go to the voiceover as Mac is at the, exploring in the forest. At least they do cut to the voiceover so you hear Mac's inner dialogue. But I'm generally not a fan of just watching Mac do something in silence for a minute or so. But this episode has a good amount of that. But it's the biggest scare by far on this series so far.
Well, I think the skeleton hand might have scared Mac a little more than the Sasquatch.
Did it scare you?
He jumped back. The fact that it was intact.
Yeah, right. So what's scary? I mean, the skeleton hand drop is so Goonies. It's so 1980s. What's the more effective jump scare? That busting through the window or the skeleton hand?
The window's definitely the more scary.
Window's intense, man. I'm standing by that one.
But because I'm looking at the coffee. I'm not thinking about the window.
So they got you.
They did.
Axminster 2 resumes, and we're still on the ship. And Mac is trying to explain to this woman that he's not trying to hurt her, and she's not responding in any kind of way. But she does go with him because there is a beast trying to break through the door and attack them. So they continue to flee from the beast, jump overboard into the lake as the beast throws barrels at them, and he tells her, you got to come with me, we got to go to safety, and off into the wilderness they head, dripping wet. And
this will be burned in your memory because it's in the opening credits of every MacGyver going forward. I don't know, is it in season 3 already? No, you wouldn't see this before it happens, right? Is it in this season's credits? Those two jumping over the boat? That's a good question because
I'll have to go back.
But
and
it'll
watch.
definitely be in every episode going forward. You see the two jumping, like you see both of them jumping with the beast there in every opening credits. So that's fun to notice.
So as they're fleeing, we cut back to the base camp where Pete's starting to get nervous because things are not going as he would expect it, and he's been talking a lot of shit about how great Mac is, and this woman is like, hey, your guy sucks. He went fishing. He sucks. And Pete's like, no, he wouldn't have done that. He would have, something else would have had to happen. So Pete's radar is always up. Pete and Mac have like an ESP connection as to when something's going wrong. So out in the woods, rather than use his superpower of teaching anybody English, Mac is cycling through language like he's a freaking bibliophile. And he knows like every...
Yeah, he knows a lot of languages.
Clearly. And he tells her some joke eventually in Russian, which gets her attention because everyone in MacGyver is either American or Russian, apparently, or Jana. There's the 3 races you can be.
Gary, do you speak any other languages or just Canadian.
It's just Canadian. No, my brother's deaf, so I know some sign
very
Oh,
language.
that's
cool.
interesting.
I mean, very cool that you know sign language.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
his poor brother is spared the pain of
Good
this
to know.
podcast. So I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he can't hear it. So that's good.
So Mac gets her to loosen up a little bit by speaking to her in Russian. She's like, I can talk. I'm educated. I know how to speak English, which is convenient for the audience. And to kind of warm up the relationship here, Mac pulls out a steel tube and goes over to a tree and jabs that bad boy in there, and out comes clean, fresh water that the two of them drink to kind of like cement their bond over this moss water. So,
Does it MacGyver?
Gary, you're a wilderness person, having lived in tiny towns in the middle of nowhere, Canada. Is this
a little bit?
Before we do this? Do you want to predict, or can you tell me with confidence that this does or does not MacGyver?
I think if you're in the right place, I think it would work. I'm confident. I'm confident in that one.
You about like 50%?
75%.
75%? Well, you chose wisely because this does MacGyver.
Yeah.
However, not in the way that he does it.
You can't just stab it.
You cannot just stab it. So I found multiple survival guides, including YouTube places like one called Wilderness Survival Tips and Tricks, and you definitely can get water from moss. Survivalkit.com says the best moss to get it from is the most common kind, called sphagnum moss, or what people usually call peat moss, and it looks like little trees, and it holds a ton of water. Not only is there water in it, but it also has antibiotic properties, iodine, which is a water purification additive produced by small plants, and can also be used for padding for bedding, or you let it dry out, it can be used for kindling for your fire.
Right.
So you can get water from the moss, you can sleep on the moss, you can start a fire with the moss, but don't start a fire with the moss and sleep on the fire. That's the one thing to know. However, the advice is extremely clear. You don't jab it like you're getting maple from a tree or something like that. You just peel the moss up like carpet, and then you wring it out like a dish towel.
Like a sponge.
Exactly. And then you collect that water, and that's what you drink. So I'm going to go ahead and say this does not MacGyver for the pure fact that he did it incorrectly. So I think the TV writers probably heard you can get water from moss somewhere, and they're just like, bonk, and they put it in there, and it flows out like a tap. No. But you can wring the moss out. So meanwhile, the beast is climbing out of the water, and Mac is getting to know what we find out this girl's name is Karen. So he's getting to know Karen a little bit better, and she explains that she and her cousin had stowed away on this ship because her father was here in America, and she wanted to come be with him, and he said no, and she said, I'm going to get there one way or another.
The whole trip, Alexander and me, until the ship stopped. The ship stops where you saw it. And then it came aboard. I hear the sound like animals. And the men are yelling and running, and Alexander got to look. And they killed him.
What killed it?
I don't know.
Did you get a good look at it?
No, I saw once a shadow, bigger, higher than a man, and once I saw a hand.
I know. I saw it too.
And he says, I saw the beast as well. And at that very moment, a twig snaps, and the two of them look up, and there's a silhouetted figure in the foreground of the camera, and it must be the Sasquatch, because it's the end of Axminster 2.
Exciting stuff. Good time for a time capsule commercial, and let's see what they were selling during MacGyver in 1987.
We got a thirst for something cool and light. All we need is mandarin orange slide with 10% juice. We got the juice, it's the number one twist. We got the taste, number one mix. We got the juice, diet too. Diet.
The hair,
Oh,
shoulder
baby.
pads.
Diet slice.
Only 10% juice, though. Only 10%.
No, not only. Fully 10% juice. It's 100% 10% juice.
So that commercial was perfect for Gary because Jeff, describe that commercial, what we just watched.
It's like stereotypical 80s band where it's these girls are playing and they got big shoulder pads on and they're all playing drums, like throwing drums to each other. And
I don't know where the girls are.
Water is just splashing everywhere, and fruit is being flying through the air, and they just love Diet Slice so much.
The drums in the video would be like the reggae band I'm in, where we got bongos and
congas,
timbale. And
there you go.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Have you ever enjoyed a Diet Orange Slice while drumming?
I have not.
Oh,
not an orange slice.
You need to try it.
10% orange juice. A Pilsner.
Yeah, there you go.
Or a red one.
Yeah, Diet Orange Slice. And I think is that the second? Oh, no, a couple weeks ago we had a Pepsi commercial. I think and Slice is still around, right? Slice is still around. Gary,
I've never seen it here. No.
You've never seen Slice up there?
No, Slice is no longer around.
Oh, it's gone.
No, Slice was first introduced by PepsiCo in 1984.
We got the juice was there. Because Sprite never claimed about having juice, so Slice was like, we've got some juice.
Juice.
Right.
The juice.
It was discontinued in North America in the late 2000s, but then they went over to India and re-released it. Sorry, the billion people that live in India.
We got to get on the plane to India.
Yeah. So in 2018, New Slice Ventures LLC acquired Slice from PepsiCo and has been planning to re-release it. And apparently there is a raspberry and grapefruit, blackberry, mango and pineapple, and apple cranberry slice versions of Slice available right now.
Okay.
Available in the U.S. and Canada at drinkuslice.com. Ready for Axminster 3?
Let's do it.
All right. Axminster 3 resumes in the woods, where it's not the Sasquatch, surprise, surprise, but it is a group of indigenous trappers. Their names happen to be Stubbins, Marlowe, and the old guy. And they
what was the third one? Who was the third one?
The old guy.
Okay.
He speaks another language. I couldn't get what his name
Chief
was.
Byron Moon.
Yeah. Is that his name? Is that his real name?
I think so. They showed it at the intro credits.
Look at Gary doing the IMDb legwork that we should be doing.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
This is why we have fans.
I did say Tonsei when I first opened up, which is a greeting. Like, hello.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
Appreciate that.
Well, what's the appropriate response to that? Is it also Tonsei?
Oh, no, I don't know. I'm not sure, actually. It's very loose. Very loose.
This is how I get murdered. I wind up in Canada. I'm like, Tonsei, and then they shoot me.
And then they
yeah. So the indigenous men are explaining what you already had known by this point, that there's a Sasquatch on the loose. And the young guy is saying, there's been this stuff going on. It's getting in our traps and everything. And this guy over here, the old man, says it's not just any man. It's the legendary Sasquatch.
But what we saw was big, hairy, and kind of cranky.
When he was little, he saw Sasquatch. There's a story among the West Coast people that Sasquatch comes in the night to raid our traps and steal our children.
Yeah. So the trappers say, hey, we got to bed down for the night here because Sasquatch is out there and we got to get on the move. So everyone goes to sleep. And when they wake up, the trappers are gone, which is convenient because what the hell else were they going to do in the plot other than explain a little bit of exposition?
Mac did not offer. What's this girl's name?
Karen? No.
Karen. Mac did not offer Karen any fresh lizard meat. Did you notice that?
It's not a lizard. Yeah. So we talked about this, though. This is the cleaned up version of Mac. Season 1 and 2 Mac is Slut Mac. This is Clean Mac.
Yeah. He didn't even make her brownies.
No brownies, no lizards.
All she gets is moss water and nothing else.
And a tarp to sleep in.
Yeah.
He's sweating.
So back at the base camp, now Pete's really freaking out. And things are getting worse.
Things are still at a standstill in MacGyver's turf.
Well, maybe it's some kind of weather problem. Electrical disturbances in the atmosphere have been known to interfere with satellite transmissions.
I already checked that. Things up in MacGyver's segment are crystal clear. Or should I say where he's supposed to be?
Well, now, what do you mean by that?
Face it, Pete, your man dropped the ball. He's probably out there fishing someplace. I did happen to notice that he took his fishing pole along with him.
Well, did you also happen to notice that he took next to no food or water? The man is an experienced woodsman. He travels light, survives on what he can find along the way.
All right, maybe I'm out of line. But answer me this. If he's a modern-day Daniel Boone, what is keeping him from reaching that next marker location?
I don't know.
So things are getting tense back at base camp. Meanwhile, back in the woods, Mac and Karen hear some noises, and they're like, oh my God, thank Lord, civilization. We're going to finally get out of here. But oh, it is not. It is the ship's crew. And not only are they alive, and not only are they not ghosts, they are thieves. And they are illegally tapping into an oil pipe to steal it and refill their boat. And we have finally learned the reason that the ghost ship is here.
MacGyver showing its hand on the environmental concerns here. This is maybe one of the first times when Mac's, bent towards environmentalism starts to show.
Yeah, Mac, known defender of the environment and private property. Good job, Mac. So after the world's slowest point of view walk up, Karen is ambushed and kidnapped, but Mac is not. Mac is on the loose, but Karen is kidnapped by these guys. And that is the end of Axminster 3.
And Jeff, were you wrongly saying, it is your opinion, but were you wrongly saying you found Karen, played by Katie Wright, to be one of the most attractive Mac girls yet?
I'm going to put in a vote for her for top 3 Mac girl.
That gets an oof from me.
What? She's got this very great face shape. She's got these big eyes.
Not doing it for me. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm with you. Yeah. She was okay.
Oh,
would you kiss her, Gary? Would you kiss her?
You
want to marry her? You want to marry her?
Nah, the real reason has come out.
You certainly don't want to marry your girlfriend since you said COVID's postponed it for 2 years.
There'll always be a hiccup.
But I'm on record as thinking the best-looking Mac girl is still the gypsy woman from the Thief of Budapest episode, because she's like older and refined and smoky and mysterious and sexy.
She had the dress.
You're not talking about Yana, the 10-year-old.
No, Yana's a child.
Okay, just making sure. No Penny Parker, no Terry Hatcher, no. The voice is killing it, right?
Yeah,
voice kills it. But
there's another one. What's the one holding up the sign? MacGyver. I don't remember that episode right now. But it's one where he dresses up. He's acting like James Bond in that. She's one of my favorites. He's wearing a tux. He's like, yeah, I do kind of look like Bond, James Bond or something. That girl is one of my favorites. I don't have it in front of me. Sorry.
Axminster 4, and the thieves on the boat have captured this woman, and they're talking about what to do with her. And, of course, they want to murder her. And Mac is now setting up a trap to try and catch these guys. So he has his fishing pole with him, as we've been told by the woman at the base camp. And he sets first a line across, like a tripwire kind of thing. And then he stabs the fishing pole into the tree and pulls it all the way back. And when the guy is coming up walking with Karen, he walks into the fishing line that hits him in the eyes and briefly distracts him. And then Mac lets the fishing pole go and whacks the guy in the face and knocks him down. And Mac gives him the old one-hand punch, shake it off.
Shakes it off, which we haven't seen him do that in a while, shake off a punch.
He's been doing a lot of the two-hand slap thing.
I think before the skeleton, he scratched his hand on a branch. And it was like, ah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
I think he caught himself.
Eagle eyes, Gary. Nice.
So the fishing pole setup. Does it MacGyver?
Does it MacGyver?
So, first of all, this is like a classic trip line kind of thing. You see this all sorts of times where...
Fishing line,
like
right.
They'll set it up, right, and someone will run into it, or they'll be on a motorcycle and they get knocked off, all that kind of stuff. All I have to say about that is Mac did a really great job on guessing that guy's height. Because he got him right in the eyes.
Square
in the eyes.
I felt that, though. I felt like that sharp...
That would end it. That would end it for me. That'd be the end of that for me.
Let's go on to the more interesting thing, though, which is I think is the fishing pole gambit. So the fishing rod functions a lot like a whip. It's flexible, and that kind of whip energy under tension is what gives a fishing rod its power when it throws. So that's measured in our old friend Newton's, which is a measurement of force.
Okay.
That goes back to Isaac Newton himself and the classic formula of force equals mass times acceleration. Your average fishing pole, it's about 6.5, 6, 7, 8 pounds.
A fisting pole is something totally different. We're not talking about that tonight. No.
That's more than 7 pounds. It's 1 long pound. And I found an old article from Discover magazine measuring the speed of pro fly fishers on casting.
Ooh.
So they're measuring the speed of the fishing pole as it gets whipped out there. So I'm giving Mac the maximum possible benefit of the doubt with this.
He probably did it with Grandpa in the lakes of Minnesota. All those lakes, him and Grandpa did plenty of fly fishing.
Bud? Yeah.
Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
And they topped out at 600 feet a second. So we've got our measurements now. We've got our mass and we got our acceleration. And that brings us to 497 newtons of force, which means nothing to anybody. It's like trying to measure in kilometers. It's a completely meaningless number.
Doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't. And so we had to get a little context for that. And we go to the boxing website, whattheboxgame.com, where they inform us that the minimum amount of newtons needed to knock somebody out is 144 to 186 newtons. So Mac might clean take this guy's head off with this fishing pole coming in at 500 newtons. Plenty of force there. Get him right in the face. Square in the face. Oh. Knocks him down. Punches him out. This does MacGyver.
It hurts watching. Yeah.
It's a pretty good stunt.
Yeah. I love the idea of MacGyverism's gone wrong. Like last episode, we had Jimmy the Kendall, who ducks at the last second, and Mac throws like basically a harpoon that just misses his head and fires off a steam valve. But if Jimmy doesn't duck, if he doesn't see it, he gets a spear through his head. This guy, I love the idea of Mac accidentally decapitating a guy with a fishing rod. He has to just move on with the rest of his rescue. The guy's head rolls down the
yeah,
hill.
he wouldn't phase him at all.
If we had really editing skills, that would be an amazing YouTube video.
Yeah.
We just edit them so they don't work, and then everybody dies. Like Mac releases it, hits the guy, and he goes, "What the hell?" And then he just shoots Mac.
Let me just put out a quick plug, though, for MacGyver's Unsolved Mysteries. It's a new feature on our YouTube channel, and it's perfect to get into. If we had amazing editing skills, right, we do that. But we have good editing skills, so check out MacGyver's Unsolved Mysteries on our YouTube channel. Fun little series that we just started.
So the thieves start to get a little curious and concerned because this guy who left with this girl has disappeared, and so they leave their little thieving site and go chase MacGyver, and MacGyver uses that opportunity to go in there and find out what's going on. And MacGyver, being very clever, climbs up on top of the equipment, realizes what's going on, drops all of his little tracking devices into the pipe where the machine pumps it out into the ship, and MacGyver says, "I'm going to get their attention." And sure enough, he does, because back at base camp, they notice immediately that the tracking devices are not where they're supposed to be, but they were dropped somewhere all at once and accelerated very quickly into the ocean. And this, of course, has set Pete's alarm bells off entirely. And he knows now that Mac is in trouble, and it's Pete, go time.
We could all use a good friend like Pete, right? Totally, Gary, do you have any friends like Pete? You got a best friend, Gary? You have there one guy who will come for you no matter what?
The guitar player in my band, I would have to say, is probably my best friend.
Yeah? What's his name?
Sean.
Sean? All right.
Sean.
Well, he's Pete now.
He's Pete Thornton.
How are his ankles? Does he fall down just at random times during a gig?
Does he ask you to shave his cubes?
Have you ever shaved his cubes, Gary?
You know that? Never once.
No, okay. Well, there's still plenty of time in your early 40s.
Missed opportunity.
We have good buddies are good buddies.
So Pete jumps into action, and meantime, back in the woods, Karen and Mac are on the run, and they're confronted face to face by the Sasquatch.
Oof.
Now things look really bad.
Oh, man.
Mac is alone in the woods. This is a towering beast of immense strength and unimaginable power.
Ooh, I like the way you put that. Yeah.
Mac has to go toe-to-toe with the biggest toes in town on the Bigfoot. And it goes really bad for Mac. Mac is getting wrecked. He's getting WWE body slammed. He's getting rolled down a hill. Meanwhile, Karen is being useless. And the Sasquatch is beating the crap out of him as the video quality drops to almost nothing.
Now, you know what he's doing here? A lot of... And this was something you saw on one of my other favorite shows, The Incredible Hulk from the late 70s, early 80s. Like, the Hulk rarely punched someone on the show. Almost never punched someone. He would always use props to throw into someone, or he would throw the person. But this is what... Bigfoot is not giving roundhouses to Mac. He's not smashing Mac in the face. He keeps picking up Mac and throwing him, which is... not fun, but it's not going to just level you probably. But then Mac does his own kind of like turnabout as fair play, right?
So this is exactly what I was thinking when you were saying. I'm like, why isn't Sasquatch just ripping this guy's arms off or something? And this is when I started to get suspicious that maybe it's not a real Bigfoot.
This is when you started to think maybe Bigfoot? Okay.
Yeah. Before, I was going
doing enough damage. Yeah. Not enough damage.
I mean, he was wrecking his own ship. There are these big claw marks. There's
exactly. Why would he wreck that ship?
Throwing
right?
barrels.
Yeah. Pretty obviously not a real Bigfoot because Mac rips his face off and it's a man underneath there. It's a man in a Bigfoot costume like every other Bigfoot ever. It's a dude in a costume. And then now Mac is rolled down the hill and the Bigfoot's running down the hill at him and Mac grabs a log and props the log, or like half of a tree. What is it?
It's a tree.
It's a tree. Yeah, it's a full on like 8-foot piece of wood. And he plants it in the ground, and for some reason, this Sasquatch runs right
on top.
It's like, yeah.
And he, like, Mac then, like, pole vaults him overhead, and the Bigfoot rolls down the hill, and at that exact moment, the leader of the thieves, who's never named, he comes out of nowhere, and he's got a rifle trained on Mac, and for the third time this episode, it looks like Mac is dead for sure. When out of nowhere, here comes Pete in the helicopter, and the helicopter literally swoops down and hits this guy on a side swipe action and knocks him down the hill, and that is how Pete comes up to save Mac. And Mac lands, and then Mac shows Pete the mask and says, there's a scheme going on here, and that is the end of Axminster 4.
Let me just say on Bigfoot, so I think for me, because I'm older than you guys, I equate MacGyver with the $6 Million Man. I think if I was your age, I would have grabbed onto MacGyver the way I grabbed onto the $6 Million Man, because it was a similar like hero, good morals, ethics, and the $6 Million Man, which you guys might even be aware of, had a very famous right. But he had a very famous episode where he fought Bigfoot. I don't know if you guys know that.
Does he win?
Yes, but Bigfoot turns out to be an android, but the actor who was in the Bigfoot costume was none other than Andre the Giant.
Oh, that's a hell of a pull.
WWE legend. So it's just like, the circle of life, or whatever however you want to say it with the generations. For me, as I'm a 5 or 6 year old, I'm watching the $6 Million Man fight Bigfoot. 10 years later, you guys are watching MacGyver fight Bigfoot, but both times it was not a Bigfoot.
Rest in peace, Andre the Giant.
Yes.
What a legend. So like Bigfoot we'll talk about Bigfoot here after I wrap this up a little bit, but Bigfoot's like the very pinnacle of cryptid 1980s conspiracy theory stuff, right? That's got to be Bigfoot's heyday.
Yeah.
We had Harry and the Hendersons, and there was like a movie with Bigfoot, and like Bigfoot's a real guy, like that kind of thing.
Back when conspiracy theories were fun and harmless, and you could just say, hey, is there a hairy creature in the woods? Yes or no?
Sure.
That's about it. It wasn't about other things.
I spent countless hours listening to Coast AM overnight with Art Bell.
Yeah.
When conspiracy theories were fun and not like, threatening to pull the country down by its ears. Yeah.
Right. And the Loch Ness Monster, too.
Yeah.
Ogopogo in the lake here in Kelowna.
Oh, yeah? Ogopogo?
Yeah, and it's a Loch Ness Monster type.
Oh, cool.
Deal.
No, it's not. It's an Ogopogo.
Ogopogo.
So tell us more about the Ogopogo.
Well, I don't know much about it, really. There's
Have
some
you seen it?
video. I haven't, but there's some people that claim they have. There's been some episodes on Unsolved Mysteries. It's been featured on all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Typical sea serpent kind of thing, or what?
Yeah, he pops his head up or whatever, maybe.
Does he grant wishes or anything cool?
Does he pop his head up in, for some reason, black and white grainy photos that can't be distinguished? Is that generally when he comes around?
It's always grainy, far away. Really, it's just like Sasquatch.
So I'm gonna have to go ahead and call Gary from Kelowna, British Columbia, a liar, because there is an Ogopogo in Kelowna, British Columbia. A statue of the Ogopogo is in Kelowna, British Columbia.
There, right by the beach there. There's a statue. Actually, there's a statue that is, if you go snorkeling, there's one under the water as well.
Ooh, fun.
Is there anything about you that's true? All right, so let's get out of this episode. We have Axminster 5. It's very short. Everyone's wrapping things up. The Russian, for some reason, gets accepted into America, which seems odd to me. And she invites Mac to come along with her to Juneau, but Mac, being season 3 Mac rather than season 1 Mac, politely declines.
I've got a hot girl on a houseboat that I need to reject. I can't reject more than
Actually, I was supposed to be there yesterday. So the scientist continues to mock him and Pete because that's been her gag the whole way along. And then we have the end of the episode.
Think you can get these planted this time?
Yes, ma'am. as long as I don't run into any strange detours along the way.
You didn't really fall for that guy in the monkey suit, did you?
Well, I don't know. What with all the evidence piling up over the years, sightings, footprints, stuff like that. Yeah, the guy had me going for a while.
Are you kidding? Bigfoot?
Why not? Legend has to start someplace.
Pretty slick, huh? We found this connected to the PA system on the ship. The pirates used it to give new life to the Sasquatch legend.
The making of a legend?
So the very last little hook there is they all hear the Sasquatch together.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the end of Ghost Ship.
Is this the first MacGyver delving into the supernatural or the mysterious, like through 2.25 seasons, right? Is this the first time he's gone anywhere into this kind of bizarre stuff? I feel like it is.
I think so.
Well, Max says something here that like sets the tone and that I love. They're like,
Well, I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in explanations. Reality's strange enough.
Which is so great. What a
Everything's
great
explainable.
line. Yeah. Very MacGyver-y.
All right, so we've recapped and we've ridiculed Ghost Ship, but now, 0 to 10 scale with mullets. Let's put a review number to Ghost Ship.
Name's MacGyver.
Okay, well, I was very much looking forward to this episode because, it had a cool name. I thought Ghost Ship's going to be neat. We're in October. This should be a spooky, fun Halloween episode. I get the totem pole. I get the skeleton. And I'm amped for something. And then I am bored a lot. There is a lot of walking around. There's very little chemistry between Karina and Mac. Very little chemistry between Pete and the scientists. Like, the heist guys you barely even see. The action is mediocre. I don't think this one's very good. I think this is a 4-mullet affair.
All right. Gary, why don't you go next?
I picked this episode because memories, where I live, it's familiar territory a little bit. And maybe I do believe in Sasquatch. You know what? I hate to say it, but I think maybe I saw one.
Ooh.
Pretty convinced, actually.
Yeah.
But, so, I liked the episode for that. It was a fairly boring episode on the slow side. But I'll probably give it, I'm going to give it a 5. Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys have talked me out of what I was originally going to give it. I'll drop it down 1.
Bandwagon.
But it's still going to be the highest. It's still going to be the highest score here because I give 2 points for that jump scare. That through the window on the ship jump scare is probably the best jump scare of the entire series, all 7 seasons. Yeah, I do. It is fun to talk about Bigfoot, and the premise is kind of fun. But yeah, it is a little boring to watch Mac just out in the wilderness by himself. The baddies are, well, we don't get to know the humans, but Bigfoot's exciting. I'm sorry, Bigfoot's exciting. So I was going to go 7, but to hear even the man who picked this episode give it a 5, I've got 6 mullets for Ghost Ship. I'm being very generous in season 3. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but all right, so Jeff goes 4, Gary goes 5, I go 6, divide by 3, and that gives us...
This one's rated 5 out of 10 mullets.
All right, let's crunch the numbers now.
I know it's hard.
This is where we count up all the MacGyverisms, see how many were correct, and then we also take a look at how many times the word MacGyver was said. But Jeff, how did Mac do on the MacGyverisms here?
Mac is taking a step down from the last couple of weeks where he's been really crushing it. He's going to have a lot higher hit rate because they're doing fewer of them. So he's got 3 this time, fixing the boat with the tarp, getting the moss water, and then knocking someone out with the fishing rod. And he is 2 for 3, batting 666 repeating.
Okay. 666, perfect for a ghost ship episode.
Yeah. Of which there were no ghosts.
Not one.
Ghost ship, and it's about Bigfoot.
Right, but the term ghost ship is not actually a reference to like ghosts on a ship. It's a ship that is like ghostly, that either disappears and reappears, or so this ship is a ghost ship because it's a ship that's where it's not supposed to be. It has appeared in a ghostly fashion. So the ship where the attack happens is the ghost ship, and that is referred to in the title.
So how many times did they say MacGyver? Gary, this will be your first time taking a guess on this. As you know, Jeff often fails. He's often wildly inaccurate on this. So
I watch it twice.
You stand a good chance.
I watch all of them twice just to get it worse.
But it was said a few times there, because especially only, of course, back at the headquarters where the woman and Pete need to keep saying it. But how many times do you think MacGyver was said?
I was going to say 16.
All right, Jeff?
It feels lower because I noticed the woman at the base camp always refers to him as your guy, your man. So I'm going to go with 9.
Gary, my friend, you got a victory there. It was said 20 times this episode. It was said 20 times. And Jeff
always a higher number.
Jeff can't ever buy one of these. I mean, he's got this right like twice in 60 episodes. Oh, my gosh. No, they said it a lot, man. They said it a lot.
Apparently.
Anytime it was back at the base. What was the most make-fun-of-able moment? What was the silliest, most ridicule-worthy moment in this episode? Gary, I'm going to throw it over to you. What part of this episode is just like, oh, my God?
The skeleton.
The skeleton? Okay.
It was ancient.
Yeah.
But he was still able to put it back to its original position without it falling to pieces.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's true.
It's pretty bad.
Jeff?
I'm going to go with the Sasquatch costume. It looked horrible. It looked awful. It looked like It looked like they had found it on a homeless guy and then borrowed it. And like when he's climbing out of the water, you can see like the boots, like, and he's got rubber soles
I
on
did
it.
read. Yeah, I didn't notice that, but I read that. But I disagree. I thought that was a terrifying costume, and you never saw his face. They did a good job of concealing his face
Until the very end when the mask gets ripped off.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of paint on there.
Yeah. All right. I don't have a most make fun of. I'll let you guys take it. Well, Gary, it's been a pleasure to have you join us here. And what are your thoughts on the first time ever being on Making Fun of MacGyver?
I had a good time. I'm pretty shy kind of a guy, so I had a good time.
Yeah, you did great. No, we got to learn about you. We've been wanting to know a lot about our first fan ever.
Yeah. And he brought facts and information to the table, which every one of our guests that we've had on so far, when we started the whole We'll Have the Patreon guest thing, I was a little nervous about it, but every single one of you guys has been fantastic. You each bring something unique and different, and sometimes you bring facts and information, which I love. And excellent appearance, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, and we totally consider you guys friends. I mean, not trying to be cheesy, but reach out, say hi anytime. If anything's going on in your life, you want to plug for your band or anything, just feel free to reach out to me or Jeff, and we're friends with you. And hold on, we got company, guys. Hang on, let me go get the door.
Oh my God! It's Bigfoot! Run!
Oh my God,
it's Bigfoot!
Jesus, it's
Get out of here!
What the fuck? No,
No, it smells.
Wait, guys, wait!
No, Gary, what are you doing? Gary,
Gotta run! Get out of there! It's the Bigfoot!
Run, Gary, run!
No. Hang on, guys. This creature comes in peace.
What?
And his name is not Bigfoot. Quite frankly, it's an insult. His name is Sasquatch.
Wow, Gary, he's actually responding to you like, I had no idea. I mean, I didn't mean to be offensive to the Sasquatch community. I mean, I kind of feel bad. Thank you for telling me that.
What? How? Wow. How are you communicating with this creature? Tell me, what is the secret, Gary?
Well, did you forget? It's like Sasquatch. I too come from the Pacific Northwest, Kelowna, British Columbia. In fact, I don't live too far from the ghost ship where the old fur ball was once called home.
That is a truly stunning revelation.
Oh, shucks, guys. It was nothing really. Oh, man, is that right? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, friend.
Wait, hold on. Gary, you actually understand what it's saying to you?
Yeah, I do. It's a he, by the way.
That is... You gotta tell us.
Well, unfortunately, Sasquatch says the rampant deforestation of his homeland is causing significant habitat damage, biodiversity loss, and the reduction of biosequestration of atmospheric carbon dioxide. increasing in negative feedback cycles, contributing to global warming.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Jesus.
That is devastating and amazing he can say all that with just a roar.
Well, he also says, due to extinction, he hasn't been touched by the female Sasquatch in more than 9 years. And he'd greatly appreciate it if one of you would rub him.
I mean, I guess you can't pass up an opportunity to touch a Sasquatch, so let's just go ahead and give him a little scratch behind the ear here. How's that?
He says you need to go lower, Jeff.
Okay, I guess between the shoulder blades here, maybe like right there on the chest, kind of dog likes it sort of there.
Lower?
Oh, there's not much lower to go here, but I guess we'll go this, and how's that?
Go for it, do it. Wow, that's a lot. What's he saying there, Gary?
Well, he just said, when I quote, oh yes, that's the spot, baby. Stroke it, and don't ever stop with the good stuff. My sweet, hairless, human honey doll.
That is disgusting. That is gross, Sasquatch. You just pulled a Deshaun Watson on me.
Jesus. And what do you say there, Gary?
Well, that wasn't really a word. More so, just an exclamation of, shall we say, his peak of pleasure.
You mean this isn't Cobweb?
Oh, that's disgusting. Get out of here, Sasquatch. Get
Uninvited. Uninvited.
Shut that door. Oh, my goodness. That's disgusting.
This is
Gary,
why you can't trust Canadians.
I can't believe you facilitated that.
I only relayed.
Any final words here, Jeff?
Bigfoot is real.
He just might be. You heard it here first.
I know. Well, I can. He's so real. I have to go wash my hands.
Gary, any final thoughts for your first and hopefully not final episode? But yeah, we've enjoyed having you. Any final thoughts?
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I'd love to come back and do it again.
Thank you for being a fan. Please hang in there with us. Awesome. Thank you for your fine effort, gentlemen, and thank you for listening out there. We sincerely hope we've entertained you a little bit for today. Let's give a huge thanks to our Patreon patrons who inspire us to bring our A games each week, like Mia in Canberra, Australia, who reminds us about the importance of being an organ donor and checking in on friends and family to make sure they're okay.
And speaking of friends and family to check in on, Bo in Fort Myers, Florida, we're thinking about you, my man.
Yeah, we did that. Checked in. Bo, check in back with us. Let us know if you're okay and if we need to get some kind of fundraiser going for you. Claire in New Jersey, she wonders how can MacGyver defuse bombs with paper clips, but he can't keep a girlfriend alive longer than 2 episodes? Go to Dead Fictional Girlfriends Research Report for the answer to that and more.
Caesar from Parts Unknown hails Caesar and his generous backing to keep us cracking.
Thanks to Christian in Norway. He chops beer, he drinks wood, he likes heavy metal. Similar to Gary right here. He's the Norwegian version of Gary, pretty much.
And Matt McNeil from Minnesota, who might as well be from Canada.
And Gary in Kelowna, British Columbia. Hall of Fame member, first ever confirmed fan, and did a great job here today. Thank you, Gary. And hey, this song we're going out to right here, this is Gary's band, Big Block Union, with a song called Not What It Seems, and you can check them out on Spotify. Feel free to reach out to us, say hi, social media, send us an email, the hotline, whatever. But above all else, keep coming back because we're going to keep making fun of MacGyver. So for Jeff and Gary, I'm Sam. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in explanations. Reality's strange enough.